Assalamualaikum and hi. So my name is Mira Maisara binti Ahmad Zaidi. My matrix number is BT233030606, and I would like to talk about the first part of this assignment, which is construct appropriate graph or charts to compare the relative frequency and cumulative relative frequency between the two key performance indicators. So what is a relative frequency? Relative frequency is a distribution to identify the proportion or fraction or value that falls into each class. How about cumulative relative frequency? It is a distribution that gives the proportion or fraction of value that falls below the upper limit of each class. Next, we have an bar and ogive here. I would like to talk a little bit about the histogram first. The histogram bar weight is represent the relative frequency. Meanwhile, the bar width represent the class width. The shape of this histogram can be called positively skewed because the data narrow tail to the right side. For the ogive, the plotted area represent the cumulative relative frequency. Ogive actually used for a visual representation of a cumulative relative frequency. Here we have an example on how to count the relative frequency and the cumulative relative frequency. And this is the histogram bar and ogive for the profit margin. On this slide, we can see the comparison between the histogram and ogive for production cost and profit margin. The histogram for profit margin indicates a highly concentrated distribution with most value in 20% to 29% range. The production cost data is more evenly spread across the intervals, while the profit margin is heavily concentrated in a narrow range. For the ogive, the production cost ogive rises gradually, indicating a more spread out distribution across the cost interval. The profit margin shows a steep rise between 20 to 29%, reflecting the majority of the data is concentrated in this range. The cumulative relative frequency for profit margin increases sharply early on, while the production cost curve shows a gradually progression.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day to Dr. Debra and everyone. So today I will present a detailed analysis of central location measures for two key performance indicators, which is profit margins and production costs. So these measures help us to summarize data effectively and gain deeper insights into performance trend. So before we go through all the answers, let me introduce myself first. So my name is Akif Firdaus bin Zulkifli and my matrix number is BB233110791. So next, let's calculate mean for production cost and profit margin. So what is mean? Mean represents the average value of a data set. To calculate the mean, we sum up all the values in the data set and we divide it by the total number of values. Okay, so let's go through mean for production cost. Okay, total sum for production cost is 1,484.6 million and the number of data points is 30. So what we have to do is we just total sum, which is 1,484.6 million, we divide it by 30. So from that we get 49.4733%. So that is our mean for production cost. Next, let's calculate mean for profit margin. So same steps, what we have to do is total sum, we divide it by the number of data points, which is 741.7 total sum, and we divide it by the number of data points, which is 30, and then we get the final answer, which is 24.723. Next is median. The median represents the middle value of a sorted data set. If there is an odd number of data points, the median is the middle value. If there is an even number, the median is the average of the two middle values. Okay, so let's calculate for the profit margins. First step, what we have to do is we need to sort the data in ascending order. So after we sort list of profit margins in ascending order, and then we will get the median profit margin is 25.35%. The median is calculated by averaging the two middle values, which is 25.2 and 25.5, since there are an even number of data points, which is 30. So next is mode. What is mode? The mode represents the value that occur most frequently in a data set. And for production cost, the mode is 36.2 million, as it is the most frequently occurring value. So after we analyze the data set for profit margins, modes are 23.3%, 21.2%, 26.3%, 30.0%, 27.6%, and 22.1%, as they occur multiple times. So in summary, the measures of central location, which is mean, median, and mode, offer unique perspective, which is the mean provides the average value, the median highlights the central tendency, and the mode identifies the most common values. So for production cost, the average is 49.47 million with a median of 46.25 million and a mode of 36.2 million. For profit margins, the average is 34.72% with a median of 25.35% and multiple modes reflecting variability. Understanding these measures enable us to make data-driven decisions. That's all from me. Thank you. So, in summary, the measures of central location, which is mean, median, and mode, offer unique perspective, which is the mean provides the average value, the median highlights the central tendency, and the mode identifies the most common values. So for production costs, the average is 49.47 million with a median of 46.25 million and a mode of 36.2 million. For profit margins, the average is 24.72% with a median of 25.35% and multiple modes reflecting variability. Understanding these measures enables us to make data-driven decisions. That's all from me. Thank you. So next is mode. What is mode? The mode represents the value that occur most frequently in a data set. And for production cost, the mode is 36.2 million, as it is the most frequently occurring value. So after we analyze the data set for profit margins, modes are 23.3%, 21.2%, 26.3%, 30.0%, 27.6%, and 22.1%, as they occur multiple times. So in summary, the measures of central location, which is mean, median, and mode, offer unique perspective, which is the mean provides the average value, the median highlights the central tendency, and the mode identifies the most common values. So for production cost, the average is 49.47 million with a median of 46.25 million and a mode of 36.2 million. For profit margins, the average is 34.72% with a median of 25.35% and multiple modes reflecting variability. Understanding these measures enable us to make data-driven decisions. That's all from me. Thank you. So, in summary, the measures of central location, which is mean, median, and mode, offer unique perspective, which is the mean provides the average value, the median highlights the central tendency, and the mode identifies the most common values. So, For production costs, the average is 49.47 million with a median of 46.25 million and a mode of 36.2 million. For profit margins, the average is 24.72% with a median of 25.35% and multiple modes reflecting variability. Understanding these measures enables us to make data-driven decisions. That's all from me. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Debra. My name is Nordina BT Sehat and my matrix number is BB233110077. I'll be presenting part 3, calculate percentiles and construct box plot for each of the two key performance indicator. So this is the result from all three quarters, which is number 1, Quarter 1, 26.5 million. Quarter 2, 46.3 million. Quarter 3, 67.7 million. This is a result from three quarters of production cost for each company by quarter. It shows that the majority to be higher than the profit margin. This can cause most company use high production costs. For example, the company invests heavily in new technology, processes optimization, or negotiation of suppliers to remain competitive. For example, of company is UMW Holdings Berhad and also Malayan Flour Mills Berhad that has the highest amount of production costs. Compared to profit margin, that gained by the company by each quarter, which is quarter 1 is 21.9%, quarter 2 25.4%, quarter 3 27.5%. As we can see, the profit margin looks lower than the total production cost. This is an uncomfortable level for the company because the cost incurred is higher than the profit earned. This may due to weak demand from the product produced, such as for company Malayan Flour Mills Berhad that has spent 97.2 million and only got profit margin for 16.3% from the cost that has been spent. But also there is one example of a company have a good profit which have 31.2% with 11.8 million of production costs that made by company Panalpina World Transport Sendirian Berhad. This is a table for production costs. The box plot of production cost is positively skewed because the amount of mean is more than the amount of median. 49.5 more than 46.3. This is because the amount of data has high value so that it attract other amount to become large. I found that the impact on the company is that the overall cost is higher than the actual situation. This is proven by the highest total production cost of 97.2 million. However, there is no outliers from my calculation where production is still in the safe state between negative 35.42 million until 129.57 million. So this is the table for profit margin, which the box plot profit margin is negatively skewed because the amount of median are greater than the amount of mean amount. 25.4 more than 24.7. This means there is a potential risk and unsafe level for the company if the company does not take an action to increase their level production. If they don't do something, their company can suffer in long-term losses and cause them bankrupt. In addition, there is no amount is outside the outliers between 13.28% to 36.18% for profit margin. This shows that the profit margin level is in a safe condition, but if it continues, then the company will experience long-term losses.
explain the comparison between two important measures for 30 Malaysian manufacturing companies in September 2024. So let's see the data where production costs are measured in millions of ringgit, while profit margin are shown as percentage. So the point is to see how much these two values differ and how consistent they are across the companies. So from the calculation, the average production cost is 49.47 million and the average profit margin is 24.72%. So before I talk about the calculation, let me explain these two terms, variance and standard deviation. Variance shows how spread out the data is around the average, while standard deviation is simply the square root of variance, which tells you how much the data varies, but in the same unit as the original number. For production cost, the variance is 646.12 and the standard deviation is 25.42 million. This means that production costs vary a lot between companies. For profit margins, the variance is much smaller at 14.46 with a standard deviation of 3.80%. This means that profit margins are more consistent between companies. So this means that production costs are very different because companies have different sizes, production scales, and industry. For example, the UMW Holding Berhad has a very high production cost at 95.5 million, while Inggris Corporation Berhad only spent 14.1 million. On the other hand, profit margins don't vary as much, which means that even though companies spend very different amounts, their profit as a percentage of revenue are quite similar. So to conclude, the production costs vary a lot due to difference in how companies operate, but profit margins stay more stable, showing that companies in this industry are generally efficient and profitable. That is all from me. Thank you for listening.
Assalamualaikum and hello to Dr. Debra and friends. My name is Rashida binti Abu Bakar, BB2330190. I will be presenting part 5, which is calculate and interpret measures of association between the two key performance indicators. In this part, I will be calculating the covariance and correlation. Firstly, we need to know the concept of covariance and correlation. Both are statistical measures that describe the relationship between two variables, which is production cost and profit margin. Covariance measures the direction of the relationship. A higher number indicates a higher dependency between the variables, while correlation measures the strength of the relationship. It should be in the range of -1 to +1. Both covariance and correlation are positive when the variable move in the same direction, and negative when they move in opposite direction. The formula for variance is like above, which is 43.7 minus with x bar multiplied with 23.3 minus with y bar. Our x bar is 49.47 while y bar is 24.72. We will continue this step until our last number of production cost and profit margin for each. At the end, we will get negative 82.05 after dividing the sum and dividing with n minus 1. Our n is 30. For our coefficient, we will get negative 0.84 by dividing the standard deviation of x and standard deviation of y, which is 25.42 and 3.80. Negative correlations are usually imperfect, meaning that the data points don't exactly fit the trend. I have do the scatter plot based on Excel. By looking at the scatter plot, the pattern of the data point is from left to right, which have negative and not very strong relationship because the coefficient is approached to 1. The pattern is negative because sum of the production cost is higher than the profit margin, such as in the fourth row, the production cost is 24.0 and the profit margin is higher, which is 26.3, and makes the covariance turns negative. In conclusion, we can say that the covariance and correlation for production cost and profit margin have negative and not very strong relationship.
That's all from me. Thank you.